Part 4. Crystal sighed again. She went back outside to smoke a joint and think. This issue was a touchy one for her. It was so hard not to internalize issues. She had tried to get to know people and loved them so many times in her life. It was a wonder she held faith in mankind at all. So many experiences. The 19 years of constant Bible study filled her head with a preconceived notion of the world. Was it really so? She had always been taught that God's law was above man's. The purpose of life is to serve God, for He is our Creator. And if we are not actively serving Him right now, what could we possibly be doing that's more important? Seriously, try justifying spending your time doing anything other than God's purpose when you have those words ringing in your head. Not to mention, we don't know the day or hour of our Master's arrival, so we must ready ourselves. It's easy to brush off such thoughts as mere fallacy, a story not to be taken literally. There are so many reasons why the Word of God has been tainted over the years. One would be considered blindly ignorant if not willing to consider all facts. If the Bible had never been changed, then why are there so many translations? The Jehovah's Witnesses believe a simple man, Charles Taze Russell, had the right idea when he compiled his New World Translation of the Holy Scriptures and preached a new system with some very specific damning details. Just as we are told, no one knows the day or hour. We are merely taught to fear it. The end. Even the words offer a reader no comfort in Part 2. Here's what people need to know about Charles' message. Like all religions, Jehovah's Witnesses are human, and therefore have imperfections. Everything humans touch is with imperfection, as we are imperfect. Charles himself was soon outcast from a religion of his own creation. His wife left him and applied for divorce. Upon research as an adult, it appears as though she was upset when she wanted to write articles for the Awaken Watchtower as well, but he would not let her. He wrote the articles. Upon self-reflection of experiences within the organization, it is apparent there is definitive sexism that exists. Women are considered the large army, as they make up the majority of members. They can rise through the ranks only in the ministry by committing more hours in the ministry with titles such as publisher, auxiliary pioneer, and regular pioneer. There may have been more, but in order to be a missionary, one had to be accepted into Gilead. If you were a woman, you had to be married. They would not send a single woman to Africa. She was told women get raped in the Congo. When in a cheeky mood, she reflected that a man can be raped just as easily as a woman. And sadly, this experience of a man forcing himself upon a woman is not isolated to Congo. It is right here in Canada. After-work parties, bars, hiking trails, and online dating meetups, the list is endless. To speak about such things is of mixed opinions. Some people will ask, why didn't you come forward sooner? What proof do you have against their word? You're terrible for not coming forward sooner because countless other people could have experienced that same abuse and you never stepped up to stop that monster. She smoked another cigarette. The Me Too movement was supposed to help women feel comfortable breaking their silence. Instead, it became a sea of voices screaming, "Me too!" with the rest of the world thinking, "Ah, shit, here's another one." Everyone knows it exists. It's a key reason people don't ask why. It's the elephant in the room we're too scared to address properly. Those who do are ridiculed as whistleblowers. Crystal felt as though the world's politics play out before her very eyes in her own household. One child is so pure. You can see it in her glowing face. Her character is one that has not yet been broken. The poster girl doer. She wakes at 6, makes coffee for her parents, makes lunch, and gets herself ready. She sings in the kitchen while she cleans dishes from the evening before. Children like this used to be called goody-goodies, one who aimed to be good. The name was then twisted to brown-noser, one who had their nose stuck so far up someone else's buttocks from kissing it that their nose had turned brown. It creates quite the mental vision, doesn't it? It's not a good one by any means. This overdrive of achievement is evident in all doers. It was the story of the mouse that fell in the milk. The mouse that keeps kicking and keeps churning eventually turns the milk to cream and then butter and climbs its way to freedom, is it not? Is it the mouse that stops kicking that drowns? The options of keep trying or quit and die remain. What a sad outlook. Why could people not see that there was more than just the bucket of milk and the mouse? People were so caught on the immediate problem before their eyes, so quick to throw a bandage on a wound without even looking for infection. The bucket was positioned in an old barn. The exterior, though completely unnecessary in detail, was a recognizable peeling red paint, grayed by the dust upon it. Old vines climbed to the hayloft in an effort to fill the buildings with earwigs and spiders. Inside the barn, near the dusty cow stalls, a plastic bucket, half filled with milk, sat on a dirt floor. The bucket was shaded from the heat of the day, but the sun still seemed to find a way to penetrate the old building. Everywhere you looked, sunbeams shone through the cracks and holes, illuminating the sparkling dust that filled the stagnant air. What was this sparkle dust that filled the air? It was glass and poop and straw. There was so much glass and poop and straw. The back door had been nailed shut and could not be opened. No matter how much one battered at the door, no one would answer, and the door would not budge. Others ignored its existence and took the stairs down to the lower level. The stairs were old, small, and rickety. You could only fit one person at a time. It was a solo journey. One could hear their friend conversing, but the words were indistinguishable, lacking meaning unless one really strained to hear. You had to stop talking completely, both internally and externally, to hear someone else. The bucket. It was plastic, you see, so the mouse that fell in the milk was then unable to climb out. Very slippery walls. Perhaps if it had been a natural material like a wooden bucket, the mouse could have used the grooves in the grain of the wood for escape, or perhaps chewed itself grooves to climb. Why did no one ever mention the presence of a rope above the bucket? Are you aware of the significance of rope in our world? It has ended and saved countless lives throughout time since its existence. It is both a lifeline and a death line, depending on how you use it. I have a magic rope, an amazing lifeline through time. Persistence, endurance, and hope, effort and positivity are a necessity of mine. Yet the end of this rope is always in sight. The end has no patience, just fury and might. Lurking in darkness, weakness, and fear, crushing all that we hold so dear. Crumbled goals and broken dreams, these are the moments when the end of the rope is illuminated, it seems. How much can a soul withstand? The magic of the rope we tend. For a rope has more than just one end. Though highly illuminated in our thoughts, the mind it really tends to rot. What of the other end? Never in sight. For it is within you. Give it some light. This magic rope you see is as long as you weave it to be. Persistence, endurance, and hope. Dreams' purposes abound, not all to reach fruition, another purpose found. The fibers of your broken dreams are now shared publicly on memes. Full of faith, joy, and strife, create the strongest pulp that is life. Time not wasted, hope not lost. You grew, stop suffering the cost. Weave your rope with broken dreams. Tears and sweat will swell the seams. Stop stalling life, fill yourself with hope. It's what's required to build your rope. Do you know how long it takes to churn a bucket of milk into a substance solid enough to escape from? With a quick Google search, as knowledge was free and in great availability in 2022, it is found with perhaps some accuracy that churning time is dependent on the starting temperature of the cream and the speed of churning. If you start with cream at 65 degrees Fahrenheit and churn at a speed at about 120 to 150 RPMs, the total time of making butter, including draining buttermilk and molding butter, is about 20 to 25 minutes. Now we need to know what RPMs a mouse can churn. Mouse facts. There are many previously unknown facts that affect the parable of this story. How long can a mouse swim for compared to that of a human? Amazingly, they can tread water for as long as 3 days. One of the most impressive feats of these animals is that once they are completely underwater, they are still able to survive by holding their breath for about 3 minutes. Despite the fact that mice are very good swimmers, they do not really seem to enjoy swimming at all. They can jump up to almost 12 inches from the floor. They can run off at an astonishing speed of 8 miles per hour. Materials help educate one on the forced swim test. At first, it is assumed it is scientists learning how fast a mouse can paddle. Then the insidious side comes out. They are waiting for the moment the mouse stops trying. Does it mean the mouse has accepted its fate? Does it mean the mouse is reserving energy to survive? What a sick, cruel world that one would experiment on the lesser lives. All lives matter. A shudder ran through Crystal's body. Those were powerful words these days. To suggest such things was to suggest that one did not believe that Black lives mattered. Those were racists in society. The back door swung open and thudded closed. Gerasimos needed help in the yard. It had been a long day and nearing 3:30 p.m. It didn't sound late, but it sure felt it. It felt like bedtime. She pondered whether a nap would help or ruin the day. There was no way to know. Earlier in the day, the children were dropped off at school, and Crystal and Gerasimos met his mother at his grandmother's old nursing home. 2 of the children had worked here prior to COVID mandates for vaccines. They had to resign, understandably so. These are the most vulnerable of our population. They needed protection. Did they need to be locked away for their protection, though? They were clearing out the old furniture as Grandma had been moved to a high level of care home after her month-long hospital stay. She had only been feeling nauseous one day, and they figured it was anxiety from having her old chair removed and a new one put in. She never even got to sit in the chair before she was taken to the emergency. Everyone in the hospital had to wear masks. You could enter whether you were vaccinated or not, but only one vaccinated visitor was allowed to pass by the emergency doors, if not suffering from an emergency themselves. Grandma shared a room with an elderly man with dementia. He would ramble on about random topics that seemed outlandish for someone with his frail body and predicament. He would speak to his daughter on the phone, as she was unvaccinated and unallowed to visit. He was eventually confined to his bed as he kept trying to walk the halls. Not during COVID. No one was allowed to walk the halls but the staff. Mom would bring Grandma meals. That was until another COVID outbreak, and the floor would be so restricted they wouldn't allow healthy food to be brought in. Food. Oh, the joy it brings some people. It is supposed to be a necessary nutritional requirement for the body, but the party had twisted it so. Despite the new beliefs, the old traditional ones still held strong to the old ways. Mom was the matriarch of a Greek family. She was not Greek herself, but a young Canadian girl who had grown up working on a farm and left at 14 to work as the main camp cook for her father's logging operation up Shuswap Valley. Crystal loved hearing Mom's stories. They worked so hard. Anyway, she married a handsome, mysterious older Greek man, which back in the 1970s was quite something. Not only were there huge cultural differences, but also many businesses needed to be run and children to be raised. There were mostly restaurants, but they also had a nightclub in Vernon, and for some time too. Apparently, nightclubs switched hands frequently for a fresh look to attract new people. Gerasimos was raised with a plethora of food. Many of the Greek themes in My Big Fat Greek Wedding are completely correct. It's been lost with the younger generations, though. The only remnants that remain are the containers of tzatziki in the fridge and the old Greek men that still meet. Like Simon and Garfunkel, old men, they sit and stare and talk. Mostly now in their 70s, having survived so many life-threatening illnesses, yet their weakening bodies hold on day by day. Crystal felt pain standing at the age of 37. She could not imagine the pain of a body of 80 years of life.